like poetry, like resistance with rhythm. Names like Shaquana, DeAndre, LaToya, they weren't just made up. They were made deliberate. They were acts of resistance. See, after centuries of being stripped of our original African names, stripped of our Kofis, our Nias, our Adiolas, we were forced to wear the names of our enslavers. Smith, Jackson, Johnson. But something shifted in the 1960s. Black folks weren't just marching anymore. They were renaming, reclaiming. The Black Power movement wasn't just fist in the air. It was naming your daughter Shaniqua when the world wanted you to name her Sarah.
Now, that style of naming came 60s, 70s, got real popular in the 80s. And it was a rejection of what was in the past, a freedom of expression. Unfortunately, Black Americans paid a heavy price for these names because these names started to be associated with poverty, crime, and a lack of intelligence. If you saw a person by the name of Jaquan or Jalil or Laquan, you would automatically think, especially if you were Caucasian, that number one, this person is from the inner city, and number two, they're from a poor section of the inner city, which is ravaged in crime and a low IQ. And of course that's not true.
Damn shame.
But we start to see a prejudice towards people with these names, especially when an individual graduated college with the same accolades as a white student and they were applying to a job. What we found out was something very interesting.
University of Berkeley conducted a name discrimination study, and what they found is that Lakeisha and Jamel are less likely to be hired than Emily and Greg. They sent out 83,000 job applications to 108 Fortune 500 employers. Of these 83,000 job applications, half of them had white-sounding names and the other half had black-sounding names. Applicants with black-sounding names were called back 10% fewer times across the board, and even less when it came to specific companies, despite having comparable applications to their counterparts. The author's purpose for doing this study was to understand discrimination in the employment application process. What's more interesting is that these Fortune 5 companies use algorithms and third-party technology to screen their applications.
Now, as you heard this lady say, UC Berkeley did a study, and they found out that people with names like Jamar or Javon or Deshaun, if they graduated with the same accolades as a white candidate, they were 10% less likely to get the job. Now, again, most people will say, well, that could have been back then. This is not now. This is 2025. You can get sued for doing something like that. You can't discriminate against somebody because of their name, right?
Black people. I had my first day today at a new job. And basically, without going too far into it, my job is to schedule care for people that need it. A lot of this job is going through applications for people who want to give care. I learned today, if it is a name that does not sound white, we are to move it to the completed tasks. We then note your application as moved due to name standards. Now, it's my first day, so I asked, what does that mean? I'm Black, I'm very light-skinned, obviously. And she says, And I said, you mean like our names? Like our names? Because I thought it was like a brand standard, like, no, it's literally our names. So I just want you to know, and everybody else to know, this 100% happens.
Now, this is a lady saying that maybe these people just didn't know, but I'm light-skinned and I also consider myself Black. And these people are telling me that if I come across a name like X, Y, and Z, to immediately tarnish the name or to tarnish the application, because we have a certain standard here in the business. But wait, there's more.
I have 122 screenshots of people, their names, their phone numbers, and their email addresses, and the reason why they weren't hired directly because of their name. Then I have this. I didn't even make it 1 hour. After I got my heart rate to stop spiking, I went and found the owner like I planned and asked her directly, super calm. She didn't deny any of it. She admitted that it's, fucked up. She apologized. I told her that I don't think this is going to be a good fit because this is not something that I would be willing to participate in. I made sure to keep it like professional and not scary, like not threatening. So I have a phone call with my guy later this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and let him tell me how to proceed. I know that this happens. It's just that I personally have never experienced this type of training. If they have a name that sounds like this or that's jacked up, we don't do it because we have standards. Like, guess we're going on a journey. And eventually we're going to say who it is.
And again, this video shows more evidence that you have certain employers out there who are trying to stay away from Black people. And what I'm talking about is Black Americans. And it's not just Black Americans. Also, Africans have this problem. I know about some Africans who are in the UK, and if they were to use a real name like Olufemi, they would also get discriminated against. So what Africans started to do was to adopt a Christian name, all right? So they would have their official African name, and then they would adopt a white Christian name, and then they would put this particular name on their job application in order to seek employment. A similar case is deriving in America, but people still may use their name Laquan. But if they have a middle name like Michael, what you start to see is people using their name like Michael. And this was true even in the 50s. You would find some women named like Willie, Billy. It's very, very popular. These are names that men could use with women, especially back in what you call the country in the old South, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. And some of those women just didn't want to be called Willie or Billy or something like that. So they would adopt a middle name and then professionally use that as the middle name. But now if you're Laquan Javon Jackson, then you have two names that are very similar like this. So what is the solution? The solution is, well, number one, you can still get jobs, but it may be harder. Or you have to work with your own individual community to create employment to understand that these names of these people doesn't mean that they don't have talent. And that's the one big take that the Black community has to understand. At a certain point, you have to stop depending on somebody else to hire you. And that's the beauty of Black America. It is really a large white space for people. And when I'm talking about white space, I mean opportunity for people to grow their wealth, grow their skill set, and then you can hire your own people the way that you would like. Now, again, not everybody can be an entrepreneur, but the reality is that once you form communities and you form people that you understand and you know what they can do, then now you can use that talent that some of these whites are going to reject. And that's the beautiful thing about being in Black America or any Black country or, being in Black America, the microcosm we call Black America or in Black African countries is that talent is a lot and it's overlooked. And recruiting that talent into the community does great things. And it doesn't matter what that person's name is. That person's name could be Leandre, it could be Jalil, it could be Marquise. Because we know that you can be a name Marquise and that you can be highly intelligent. That your name doesn't mean that you're dumb. You can be Raheem and have Harvard University level of intelligence. But some other people may not want a Raheem working into their business, right? And so what happens? If that person can't come back to Black America or to the Black community, then we lose that talent that we can build our community off of. And see, that's what the name should have been used for. The names Rashad, Rashawn, Raheem should have been call outs to Black businesses.
I'm sorry about that. I'm not going to play the man's whole video. But this is O'Shea Dukes Jackson. I'm going to put a link in the description. So you can go ahead and finish watching this video in its entirety. I just want to go ahead and give my commentary for O'Shea Duke Jackson's video. Okay, let's just say you change. I mean, we've been dealing with this for years. Let's just say you change your name to. Let's say you change your name to. Like, say for instance, my name was Tyrone Jenkins, right? Tyrone Jenkins, right? That's a black name. You don't know I'm an African American male. Okay, so I know that. So let me go ahead and change my name to Kenneth Joyner or Kenneth or Greg Williams. That's the most inconspicuous name. It could be black, white, green, or orange, right? But commonly you would think that's a white person, Greg Williams, right? So I changed my name to Greg Williams, and I get the interview, right? They call me on the phone, I get the interview. Or hell, they called me on the phone, because this happened to me. They called me on the phone, and they hear that I'm a black person. Hey, Charles, I want to have you come in for an interview. And they notice I'm a black person. And they be like, hey, so I was just calling to see if you just to go over here that we like your resume, and I'm gonna call you back with. We're just trying to set some times up, so I was gonna let you know what times are you available for an interview. And I tell them, oh, next week, if you interview next week, you send me an interview. I'm open anytime. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll be giving you a call, and just want to touch bases with you, and I'll call you back. I don't never hear from their ass, and I'm like, wait, damn, why would she call me? This happened to me 3 or 4 times out here in being in LA. They'll call me, hear my, and they're like, oh, okay, oh, yeah. So I'll let you know, Charles, set up some interviews, like what we were seeing right here, just ask them a couple questions. Then we're going to start doing callbacks for interviews. You know what I'm saying? Then I don't hear from them. That happened to me like 3 or 4 times out here. And then I start to realize, I think what's happening is that they like my resume, but my name is Charles such and such. Right, I'm not going to say my last name, but I mean, people know my last name, but still, I'm not going to say it on here. My name don't sound like a black person's name. It sounds like it could be anybody's, it sounds very inconspicuous. So they call me, and then they hear my voice, and they know, oh, this is a black. They're trying to hear my voice and feel me out and see if they're trying to see if I'm black. Then once they hear that I have a black scent, oh, okay, we're going to call you back for interviews. Never hear from them again. That happened to me 3 to 4 times since I've been. I said, it's got to be because I'm black. Because why would you call me in the first place? You're calling me to set the interview up. That's why you're calling me. Why you got to call back to set up the interview? Why not wait till you're ready to set up the interviews, then call me when you're ready to set up? They call me for it and set up a time for the interview. You're calling me to see if I'm black. Now that you see that I'm black, I'm not calling this nigger back. That's exactly what that is. Now another thing that they do is, if you change your name, I say, for instance, I've had this happen to me too. I get the interview because my name sounds very inconspicuous, right? And I go in for the interview, and guess what? The interview is 5 fucking minutes. You know why? I didn't know this is a nigger coming in here. His name sounds like a regular person's name. So whether you change your name or not, they don't want no black person there. They ain't gonna have no black person there. You can change your name and sound as white as you want. As soon as your black ass walking in office, if they don't want your black ass there, you're not going to be there. So I don't see what people changing your name, you know what I'm saying, ain't going to change nothing. You just wasting your time anyway further if you have a white sounding name or just a regular fitting name. Like you don't know what it could be, Asian, it could be anybody. You just, like Greg Wood, like my name, you wasting your time anyway. Because as soon as you go in that office and they see that you black, you're not gonna get the job any damn way. If they don't want no black people there, case closed. So, you might as well go ahead and name your kid Jawan, Lashika, Lashonda, shit. Because you were saving them and wasting their time getting up, laying a suit out or a dress out or a pantsuit out or getting ready for getting your heels, getting yourself together, getting all excited, going over, practicing, getting yourself all, okay, this is what I'm going to say. If she asks me this, I'm going to say this. If you really want that job, people practice the night before. Lay their suit out, get their tie ready what they're going to wear, get their high heels ready what they're going to wear, they pants, suit, females, whatever, men, getting themselves together for the interview, just to walk in there with this white sounding name. These people see that you black and they don't want to, thank you, we'll call you. I'm like, damn, I just sat down. You don't want no N words up in here. Straight up. I had a black dude. I walked in. He was just like that. This white man. He was a producer that worked on a lot of Richard Pryor stuff, and he also produced that movie with Ludacris and Terrence Howard and Lorenz Tate. It was about race too, of all things, and his ass was racist. Look, Jewish producer. He saw when I walked in the office, and he's like, I was getting ready to rob him. That interview lasted probably 7 minutes. He escorted my ass right up out that bitch. I said he didn't know I was black, saw I was black, big black man. I saw how he looked. I saw how that white man looked at me. I'm not getting this job. I can read a man's eye. So you can change your name as much as you want. If they don't want your black ass there, you don't have to get that job. Hey, straight up. Unless you're safe, if you're really safe, like almost like a Carlton Braxton from Jamie Foxx show. Oh, you gotta be real like I'm a white man in a black man's body. You gotta be like that. You know, if you ain't got that swag about you, you might as well turn around and walk your ass up out of there. You know, straight up. So you can change your name all you want. If they don't want no black people there, you're not getting that job. Straight up. Anyway, man, what y'all think about this video, man? Leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button.